Welcome back to another episode of the Be the CEO of Your Life and Business podcast. So this podcast this week is going to be, I'm like in awe. We're talking about our third year in business, folks.
Yep.
And we're talking about the lessons we've learned in our third year of business. And
it's been a doozy this year.
It's been a doozy. No, honestly though, it's been a doozy in so many ways, but I think we're really excited to share about this year. Because this year it's our junior year in high school. It's our third year, for law school. And we were just talking about like some of the pivotal items that we want to talk about and share, and be as vulnerable and as open and honest as possible with you about what's happened in our third year of business. And honestly, it feels like we're almost like just getting started again. It's a weird feeling this year. First of all, when we're recording this, it's in the month of October. So our third anniversary is technically the middle of November. Mm-hmm. But around this time, taking a look back even further, 4 years ago was when Laura and I and our former business partner had kind of decided that we were not going to be what we were. And this time of year brings up a lot of those memories and the feelings. And, I write PTSD. I write in a journal every single day, and it's a line of day journal. And in October, there's a certain day every single year in October that I look back at my journal and I'm like, oof, this is that anniversary of like when, things started to happen for us. So, it's been kind of crazy. I feel like these numbers, they look really small. 3 is not that big. And 4 for you, it's not that big, but it feels like a lifetime has been jam-packed into 3 years of business. And I never understood when business owners would like talk about, you will never understand until you own a business. And I really never understood until I owned a business and realized just how crazy this ride can be and how 3 years is like 3 lifetimes.
Yeah. And I think that, at least for me, the biggest lesson this year has been about pivoting, because we've had a lot of change in our business that we were not anticipating. And we were forced to pivot a lot.
Yep.
But at the time, it was so stressful, but it was the best thing that ever happened to us.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
For our business. There are some things that you just can't anticipate. And sometimes it's going to require you to really pivot. And in the past, that's been hard for me because we all know I don't like change. So adjusting to change, especially such a huge change as we went through this year, normally would have been like almost debilitating for me. And when that happened this year, I was almost relieved.
Yeah.
Like it was a huge shift in our business, and it ended up working out so much to our advantage.
Yeah.
And it was the best thing that could have happened for us.
Yeah.
But it was like an eye-opening moment for me about pivoting. And, sometimes you really, especially as a business owner, have to roll with it.
Yeah.
When things like that happen.
And a dovetail off of pivoting is, the realization of just how grateful I think Laura and I both are to be in a partnership that we are, like rooted in trust and really believing in the one another and trusting and respecting each other. I don't know how many other business partners would have been able to withstand what we did in the way that we did without it being a bigger issue.
Oh yeah, because we were in lockstep.
We were totally
on the same page, totally in agreement, and open about how stressful it was, and that we really didn't know. Like we were like, okay, now what?
Yeah, now what?
But because we are both on the same page, I think that's one of the reasons that we were able to move forward and even flourish even more than we were before.
Yeah. And what it forced us to do was our second lesson in our third year of business, which is take risks, which, there's a measure of risk in running your own business in the first place. And there's a measure of risk in really any decision that you take, any new client you take on, anything anything related to your business is a risk in some way. And for us, when you come from a position where you haven't had to take risk and you're not practicing that risk taking, every little risk feels huge at first. Like the first year of business felt huge. It was like, oh my gosh, we're expanding our physical space. Oh my gosh, we're going to expand into our team in the second year, and we're going to expand our business space even more. And we're going to go into another state, and we're going to open up another office. And it was, everything just kept on getting bigger and bigger and bulging and bulging. And those risks were so big. And now looking back, I'm like, I wish that's what we were dealing with right now. Like that was pittance compared to what the risks are that we're really discussing now, and like the future of our firm.
When we started this year, how many offices did we have here? One?
We had one.
And now, as we sit here in October of
Mhm.
2023, we have 4, plus we have Abby at the front desk.
Yeah.
So we have hired 3 new employees this year, lost 1, and we have, I mean, how many offices in this building? Like 4, and plus Abby at the front desk. So
Yeah.
we have gone through a lot of change this year.
And we've moved our New Jersey office.
And right. Oh, forgot about that. So
Well,
we moved our New Jersey office. And so all of those things were risks for us. We didn't know if they were going to work. But they're turning out to be so worth the stress and the risk, because we're able to grow. Like it's helping us grow.
Yeah.
But we can't grow without taking those risks.
Yeah. Agreed. And growth, speaking of growth, it looks different for everybody. And, that was one of the things that I think Laura and I were in lockstep in year 1 was we were working from home. We did not have the support staff.
Different.
We were literally working from our own offices, jumping on Teams or Zoom whenever we could to talk to each other. And that was it. And like the growth that happened from there was intentional, deliberate growth that was comfortable at our pace and not dictated by everybody else. Because in that first year, we were told by everybody, like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? I mean, yeah, working from home wasn't that crazy of an idea because everybody was home from the pandemic, but everybody's like, that's it. Like, that's what you're going to do. We didn't race out to go and like grow in a different direction just because everybody else, like we knew, we had faith and belief in the vision that we had. And that growth and that mindset has really carried us through to this 3rd year, I think.
And that vision has changed.
Yes.
So in the beginning, we wanted to be a virtual firm, right? So we were both working from home. We had this office space. I've had this office in some capacity since December of 2019.
Yep.
But we were going to be a virtual firm, which would give everybody the flexibility that they needed. And then as we started to come out of COVID, especially towards the end of last year and the beginning of this year, we realized that being in person works better for us.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We were just working better that way. We wanted to be in the same office space. And so then we started to shift and pivot a little bit to being more of the model that we didn't think we wanted in the beginning.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes. And that was a weird shift for us because part of us were like in those first couple of years, part of us, I think, were a little salty and like, we don't have to do it the way that it's always been. And watch, we're going to be successful. And then kind of like what we talked about in our episode last week is sometimes you have to adjust your lifestyle to see what works. And here for us, we adjusted our work style to what was working for us. And like that, I will never forget that when we were working, we were in the office, whether it was here or we were in Woodcliff Lake in our former New Jersey office, every single day working on a really big project for a client. And there was something about the energy that client and that project and being together, I think reminded us of just how important it is for ourselves, for our work, for our clients, for our culture, everything, to revisit that and say like, all right, well, we had the best of intentions of making it this way. And then the world kind of opened up too. So it was kind of like, do you really need this anymore? And then what happened for us from that point is we found members of our team that also never had that work from home experience.
Right.
They were always in whatever their physical employment was. And that to me, I was like, let's follow that trend.
Yeah.
Because that signaled a growth in a direction that kind of was really comforting to know that they almost were like being molded again by us of like, this is now your new work environment. And you didn't know what it was like to work from home. You didn't know what that experience was. So this should be okay for you to fold seamlessly into a work in office culture.
Yeah. And it's worked out amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm so much happier. Look, it served its purpose then.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what we talk about with pivoting, evolving, like growth requires change.
Mhm.
And so in order for us to grow, we need to change.
Mhm.
But that's what we've been doing. And for two people who don't like change, it's been quite the experience.
Mhm.
But I feel like we're getting a lot better at it.
Let me just drop a footnote here. If you asked any member of our team if we liked change, they'd be like, yeah. Have you seen how many times Laura and Amy have changed their offices
Yeah.
around, moved furniture in this place, changed when we're having meetings? Like we are changing things all the time. Like we are experimenting. We're trying to figure out what's working for us literally all the time. So I feel like we're the only two members of this club that know that we don't like change.
That is so
Because
true.
the outside world is probably like, you two are always changing and always doing.
Like yesterday when Alejandra was laughing at us when we were moving the water cooler out of my office.
She's like, are you guys changing something again? No,
Yeah.
nothing to see here.
Yeah. But it's so true because they don't know us from back then.
Mm-hmm.
So we have changed a
Yeah,
lot.
we
in
have
that
changed
respect.
a lot.
And being business owners has forced us to do that.
Yeah.
But I love it because we can't grow this business without changing.
Mhm.
I don't think we would be where we are today if we were still working from home.
And look, we're being funny about like the change of like the office furniture. Like sometimes change comes in the form of a change in your mindset. Sometimes it comes in the change of what kind of services or products you supply. And in this third year of business, that change for us has come as, I mean, I feel like it's been a little bit harder change because a lot of it has had to do with big changes to the
Yeah.
firm, like big changes in people, in clients, in matters, in relationships, all of that. And it's just felt a little bit more, I don't know, not riskier. I think it's just felt a little more like earth shaking for us because it'll really move the needle if we move things in a certain direction. Whereas like that other stuff is like, oh, okay, it's not that big of a deal. It didn't really change as much, but this year felt like, I don't know, something different.
It's been a big year of change for us.
Yeah.
So much so that we are thinking about, changing our business model and the way we operate the firm. At least for me, my practice areas are shifting a little bit.
Mhm.
I still have the same three, but there are things happening in my real estate practice that are just exploding. And so I really want to be able to focus on that. So it doesn't mean I am giving up my other areas of practice because I'm certainly not. I have certain clients that I love to work with that I
Yeah.
will work with until they don't want to work with me anymore. So, I still have litigation files that I'll continue. I still have corporate, counsel work that I love. But I think are going to make a little bit of a shift to shift things around so that I can change my focus. And Amy too has certain things that she wants to focus on.
Yeah.
But if we weren't willing to look at the big picture and pivot and change, where would we be going?
Right. We were staying in the same place. If you're not changing the direction a little bit, you're kind of just like spinning the wheels in the same spot. And, I don't want to say that it's like a chicken or the egg question, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
Like, I think if we hadn't become business owners in the first place, then we wouldn't be able to have the confidence that we have in making these changes year over year. But you then also have to take that risk at the start. So like there is a measure of that almost in like a cyclical nature, that there's got to be a little risk. There's got to be a little change in order for you to see growth, which we both definitely love. Like we are growth minded people too. So we don't like to sit stagnant in the same place if something, especially if something's not working. Like
Yeah, and
something has to give.
And I think that that's part of what's been helping us this year. While we don't love change, we're getting better at it.
Yeah.
But the mindset we have is that we are always interested in growing.
Mm-hmm.
So when we read something that we think will help the firm or help us grow, like I will always tell Amy about it, or she'll always tell me. And if there's something that we can implement that we think will help us grow, we'll do it.
Yeah.
I feel like we're a lot more open to it now than we were 4 years ago.
Oh, totally. Yeah, because 4 years ago, we knew one path. We didn't realize what it, like I said before, you don't know what you don't know.
Mhm.
We did not know what it was going to look like to be pulled in 1,000 directions every hour of the day. I
Mhm.
just said to Laura before that I was getting a phone call from somebody that I knew, one of my clients. I'm getting a phone call from him because I have not touched base with him in like 2.5 hours. I'm like, because I have other things to do.
Yeah.
But like that, I didn't know that until I was in this position where it's a little bit different and I'm further along in these business relationships with some of these clients that they just expect my availability a little bit differently, which then makes me sit and think about, well, how do we have to change? How does our business model have to change? And the other thing we have to talk about in this third year is how much of a profound impact our personal development and personal growth has had on our business. It is like things are being sent to us from God, universe, source, energy, whatever you call it in your personal life. Someone's talking from upstairs telling us, guys, hello, ladies, are you paying attention? This is what you should be listening to. This is what you should be tapping into always.
Yeah.
And if we weren't so kooky about being intuitive and like following those things, I feel like we wouldn't be getting the resounding like results and effects that we're getting.
Yeah, I feel like we're definitely in tune with the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And our
Don't turn off the podcast right now when we say that.
Yeah, no, but it's just, I mean, we have so much evidence to support that just for us. Because we will read something and we'll talk about something and then something will happen the next day that's totally in line with that.
Like things getting sent in the mail, new clients coming out of nowhere.
New clients, like what happened to me when I went to Shafali's conference. How that woman sat next to me after I had put out into the universe, I would love to meet with a financial advisor, like somebody who's not just our accountant or a bookkeeper, like a financial advisor.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was at this conference that one of our clients invited us to in Atlanta 2 weeks ago, some woman randomly sat next to me and we were doing some exercise and she was like, I don't know if I want to talk about what I do for a living. And I was like, why? What do you do? She's like, I'm a financial advisor. See?
Microphone drop. Oh, but not only a financial advisor, but also a very good friend of a colleague of ours that we have the utmost respect for. So right away, like the legitimacy of this woman just flourished. I could not pick my face up off the floor. I was like, what in the world?
It was so crazy. And it was just further like confirmation about the things that we put out there and the things that we manifest. And all of the underlying like personal work that we're doing is supporting how we're growing.
Yeah,
I think.
And I firmly believe that this year has taught us, in addition to all of these lessons, I firmly believe that this year has taught us that when one door closes, another door opens.
100%.
Or always look to the windows because there might be one that's like still left open a little bit. Like you have got to follow what is being given to you because you just don't know where it's going to lead, but it is being put in your path for a specific reason, which I know sounds so preachy. And for some people that just like, this is where the personal development and mindset work that we've been doing this year has really come in handy because we truly believe it. Like Laura said, the evidence is abounding that there are certain things being put into our path to challenge us and to push us and up level us, but also to like answer the prayers and the dreams and the vision that we have for this. I undoubtedly believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? We started with a certain vision for our firm. It's evolved over time.
Mhm.
Now we'll be heading into our 4th year of business, which is so insane. I just can't even believe it. It's so
Crazy.
insane to me. But you know, we couldn't have done it obviously without the support of each other,
Right.
but with the support of our clients and colleagues. And like, we are so blessed in so many ways. And I think that this year has helped me appreciate the changes that happen,
Yeah.
because I do think that they happen for a reason. And all of the changes that have happened to us this year are the reason that we are growing.
Mhm.
So, you know, we're so thankful to everybody that has supported us. We love our clients that we work with. And we literally cannot wait to see, because of the changes that we're making. Some of them we've discussed a little bit here, but some of the big changes we're going to be making in our 4th year of business. So we thank everybody for supporting us.
Yeah.
And we, you know, can't wait to continue to bring you new things in our 4th year of business. Next year at this time, we will be discussing lessons learned in our 4th year of business. And we can't wait to do that. So we thank you for spending time with us, and we'll talk to you on the next episode.